And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 149 of the Fans of Power podcast. Joe Mud was here. Joe.
Oh, okay, now I got you. Good God, for a second I had nothing. I had nothing for a second. So
All right. Well, we have Joe Amato. Okay. And I'm Tyler Baker, this fan community's spiritual gynecologist, so to speak, there. So we are here to pleasure your ears and tweak your brains and keep you excited and motivated about He-Man and the Master of the Universe, if you have not figured out 149 episodes in by this point. But for those few ones that do come in, that is our sole goal, our purpose, is to remind you that you don't need a movie or movie news or, uh, the possibilities of a crummy new cartoon coming out to keep you motivated and excited about He-Man. So,
yeah, we'll always keep it exciting one way or another. And speaking of things, first let me say hello to everyone in the chat room. We have Zentron, Fedmon, Adam Gabbert, JD Gibson, Toki Deathhammer, JSP, a new person, JH4073, and Delvis78. So thank you all. Oh, and Grimbot. Bam. Grimbot just got us. So thank you all for
by the
joining
way,
us.
Grimbot, I got your post about the new Bumblebee trailer, which for some reason, when I went to go respond to you about it, disappeared. I don't know what happened to it, but I was surprised to see Soundwave pop up in that trailer. So hopefully we'll have something positive to say about that movie. The trailer drops. He sent me a teaser for that, and I couldn't respond to him. So now that I know that he's here, I can let her know that I did get it and hope to respond to him about it. But he knows my response to that now. But thanks everyone for turning out. That's a pretty big turnout for tonight.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. And also Eric Amen. Thank you for joining us. But, well, I guess the only main piece of news, which is good, it's something I mentioned early on Beyond Retro, but I'll say it here. It's Super 7 has listened to the fans, and the 5.5-inch vintage style hero figure will be vac metalized. So it won't be just a gold paint. He's vac metal because fans were pretty outspoken. Many of them, and well, not many of them, a lot in all the groups were saying, I'm not buying that figure if he's not back metal. They were not pleased with what they heard at first about it. But Super 7 listened, so I give them all the credit in the world for doing that, changing it, and making sure that Hero will now be back metal. So fantastic move on Super 7's part.
Absolutely. I was pretty stoked to see that myself. So I'm glad that they were pretty open-minded about it and didn't see it as a big pain in the ass or as fans, they're just being problematic. Like, you know what? It's important. They want this, so we'll give it to them. So, and extended the pre-order.
Yeah, and how long did they extend
schedule.
it to? I forgot. How long was that extended till?
I think it's till sometime in October, I think.
Oh, good.
I mean, okay. I didn't have it memorized because I pre-ordered it when the pre-orders went up, so I was going to get it regardless. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, well, that is good. So. They did, and also I wanted to say one thing to James Etalk, if he's listening, or if he is or is not, but he let me down. He disappointed me. He made a post on his wall. I said, James, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. I was like, what the hell are you doing? He made a post saying that he encountered two very hot girls that asked him to spend the day drinking with them, and he turned them down. I said, James, what the hell are you doing, man? I said, you don't turn down two hot women when they're going to ask you to spend the day with you. What's going on? So I said I was going to do it, and I did. Damn it, James.
Well, he made a point to say that he was approached by two beautiful women here in the States, and he turned them down.
No, I think where he lives, he did. He made a post on Facebook right there for everybody to see. I was like, oh, James, you done let me down, man. What are you doing?
Did he give a reason why he would do something like that?
No, he says, I think he said something along the lines of, and I don't know why I turned him down. So I don't know. I was like, damn you, James.
So he opened himself up to be humiliated by the guys like us. Like,
I'm surprised you didn't see the post because I did it. Then a couple people said, well, it's a good thing. You might have ended up in a bathtub with ice with your kidney removed or something. But I'm still saying, oh, damn you, James. You had what a chance, Eddie. Oh, shit.
Well, James, could you at least tell us, what did these girls look like? I'm assuming they were hot. But you know what? Maybe they weren't as hot. Because, James, would you have really turned down two beautiful women if they I don't know. I'd like to think that he had a very legitimate reason for turning down such a wonderful offer to
You have to.
wax lyrically with two beautiful women, whether it be two brunettes, two blondes, a blonde and a brunette, a blonde and a redhead
I
and a
believe he
brunette.
said I couldn't remember. I know Grimbot might remember. I don't know if he said two very. I think he said Spanish women. I think he said.
He turned down two Hispanic women.
James, I don't know what to say, man. I told you I was going to give you a hard time. Just give you some.
Oh, we got
crap
to get
from...
James on ASAP so we can bust his balls. We can bust his balls about being so open and public about that royal embarrassment.
Yes. So, damn it.
You can't be a fan of He-Man and turn down hanging out with two beautiful women. What the hell is wrong with you, dude?
Couldn't believe it.
We're supposed, as men, we're supposed to carry on the alpha effect of being a He-Man fan. You know, He-Man would gladly walk off with two beautiful women.
I would love to know how his reaction was if he just looked at him and said, no thanks. I mean, I couldn't even picture what he said.
I wonder if he was like that little buzzard from Looney Tunes, like, I don't wanna, you know.
Oh Jesus! Damn, James.
If he did something like that, then like, okay, that's cool. But if he's just like, nah,
no thanks. That's all right. I gotta go get something to eat.
Like,
See you
I
guys
gotta go
later.
rearrange my sock drawers or something like that, or.
Right. Well, and then
What if he blames it on Deuce and like, I'm sorry, but you know, Deuce is expecting to come back and make all these changes to make sure Lizardman gets into the Return of Faker. Like, bloody hell!
Right. Oh Jesus! And Zen Brown, he joined us in the chat room. He said, "Yeah, tragic." But all right. Well, hey, I was gonna say there's something else I wanted to show. A while back before this new wave came out, Michael Zolotoro from Zolo World, and he also is the creator of like the Realm of the Underworld action figures, and they use like the Remco style bodies. Well, he contacted me a while back and he said, "Joe, would you like to work on one of these figures called Grim the Executioner?" And it was like a skull head. He said, "But I would like it if you can make the skull head with like, you know, like maybe something rotted or disfigured." And I was like, okay, I was like, maybe I'll sculpt some flesh on it, have tears around the face and worms and maggots coming out of his head, and maybe an eyeball. I'll see what I can do. Well, they had him finally sent off the master mold of that to China, and you can pre-order the wave. It should be out. I got this like early sample right here, but they should be, I think, coming out this month. And there'll be a link under, you know, in the Fans of Power right under there with all the description of where you can get it. But it's this figure. It's called Grim the Executioner, and I haven't opened it yet. But I told
very nice.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'd let Michael know. I was like, I'm gonna open this live on the podcast because it's kind of cool for me to see something that, you know, a mass-produced, manufactured figure that I helped work on. I was like, man, I gotta see this thing. So yeah, this beautiful packaging is going to get destroyed. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna even keep men on cards that I work on. Let's see. Because the cool thing about the figure is, all right, well, it comes with like this big, cool, bloody battle axe. So that
looks awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty damn cool. He comes with the variant just skull head, which is like a red skull head. And you can only see what... Oh, he's got the chain wrapped around his arm. He's got a chain. There's a... Oh, I didn't even know this. Oh, there's a cool mini comic with a... Hold on a second. Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a mini comic it came packed with, too.
Whoa.
Well, damn, that is awesome. Man, I didn't expect that. I didn't know that it was going to have one. And the chain that'll go around for part of the accessory. And now let's look at this figure, because that's the mystery of getting this figure is you gotta unhood him and take off the hood and that cool little bone necklace. But I want to see what it's like because, you know, he has people that paint him up in a certain style. And, oh, that's kind of cool. It's bloodied up. It's like a white kind of melted up skull face and eye.
I like that.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to see if I could... I don't know if you could see it up close, but I mean, there is like a bunch of maggots in the parts around his bloodied up head and everything. So, oh, this is cool to see in person.
That's quite cool, dude. Now, what was your contribution to that figure?
The contribution was the new mutated, bloodied up. I mean, the mutated head with the maggots. So I sat there and I was, you know, like sculpting in individual maggots, this distorted face, the skin ripped around the teeth and everything, and that is pretty damn cool. So I didn't know what the paint apps would look like or anything. I just sculpted up the head all around to, you know, to mutate it, and then it was manufactured. And oh, that's really cool. Yeah, so
very cool, dude, and very, very impressive.
Thanks. It was an honor, and Michael, thank you so much for, you know, letting me work on this line. You know, it's Yeah, that was an honor. I mean, especially doing anything in this kind of style, because those Remco figures back in the day were, well, they were inspired by the Masters figures. So this
Mm-hmm.
is, yeah, it's something I always wanted to do. So I want to thank Michael for that. I really appreciate it. But yeah, there's a link to where if you wanted to order the figures and stuff, and there's a big assortment of figures. There's a lot of other figures that's in these lines, and I believe this is part of Wave 3. And I might be working on, I think, something for Wave 4 for him or Wave 5, but just want to show that. So yeah.
Very, very cool, dude. God, that's man. It's like now I want to be able to contribute somehow to something He-Man related. I mean, you're getting that. Why? By God, when am I going to get my shot?
Oh, well, believe me, with all the stuff we do here and the mini comics that you work on with Karsten and people seeing that, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before somebody might say, "Hey, Tyler, would you like to help us write a story for Masters of the Universe?" I don't think that's far fetched from saying that at all.
Man, I'm just waiting. I'm like Gangrel, just waiting for that call.
Yeah, yeah, just don't speak like Gangrel because then
No,
you
no,
go,
no, no, no,
boom,
no. I can cut a promo better than Gangrel, but
poor
I
guy.
just know. But I'm like, God, I'm just waiting for that opportunity, man. Waiting for that call. I'm waiting for that call, Gilbert.
There
Dixie
you
Gilbert
go.
right there for you.
Oh Jesus! Well, no,
Did you know what I was saying? Would you have known that quote Ed and I
nope.
told
Unless
you?
you said it, that's why I was like, I was waiting. I was like, I know he's going to give the rest of that quote and where it's from. That Now it is Tyler has to give me half the information. Some I know, but some I'm like, I'm sure he'll give it to me
I
here and
you know,
there.
I am curious though. Like as many movies you and I talked about, you get stumped 90% of the time, which makes me think you probably don't know movies as well as you say you do.
I probably don't. I mean, hell, if I can forget a simple little quote of Friday the 13th. No, it's weird. Sometimes just the quotes, they go, boom, I've watched a movie. I could say I watched a movie 50, 100 times, but sometimes like, what? Wait, what quote was this? When did they say that? So
All right,
I've
here's a
gotten
random
some.
Friday the 13th quote for you. And I hate quoting this, but it's the first one that came to mind. But I hate this character. Not only doing it because it's the first thing popped in my head. You know, you're beautiful when you're angry, sweetheart.
What is this, some old time movie from the 50s or something?
I told you it was a quote from one of the Friday the 13th films.
Oh, wait. Wait a second. Yeah. Who was doing that damn voice? Wait a second. No, wait. I do. That was in part one. Wait. I know that was part one. Wait.
Yes, it was part one.
It was the dipshit who was running around with the bow and arrow. What was
Mm-hmm.
his name? Yeah. Oh shit.
Ted.
Oh, was that it? Well, there you go. That's bad. I couldn't remember his name, but there, I did. See, I knew it. I just blanked on the guy's name. So there. I guess I know some shit here and there. But
I love how I can continue to expose you on the pod, but yet somehow it never affects your cult status. Like I'll never understand that. I mean, you could be
well,
humiliated publicly, like you could be on CNN being exposed for fraud and everything, but you know what? You get more people signing up for the cult of Amato. It
well, hell, we've done that
astonishes me.
where
You
we're,
are untouchable.
well, hell, we even both blanked one time where we were both trying to say the name of somebody in one of the Halloween movies. Like, how the hell did we not know her name? And then it came later. It's like, what happened? How did we go blank on her name? And we both like slipped. I think it was when we were trying to say Rachel from part 4 and 5. It's like, how did what just
Oh
happened?
yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
yeah. So
But
it
you know
happens.
what? I'm not going to beat myself up about part 4 or part 5. Two, I'll give myself crap about. If I screw up a fact or a bit of trivia about part 2, then I'm going to let myself down.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
two,
but I'm
one.
not going to lose sleep over part 4.
Yeah, I always hate when there's a name that just bam escapes me. It drives me nuts. But also now, I did want to say hello to Motu fan number 1 who joined us in the chat room. I know there was some other Stephen Bashodi. I hope I said your last name right because I don't know if I've ever pronounced that out loud. And and that's it. Okay, well I think that was mainly all the main news. There's been nothing else. I think on the movie front, which ain't happening. But nothing else, right? Nothing else you can think of.
Nothing regarding a movie, and nothing regarding the new She-Ra show. Everything's pretty much quiet, and I won't say dead, but just nothing to get fans excited, which is really
Any
a shame.
that Comic Con coming in October? Is there any news of maybe any new classics figures being shown announced?
I don't know if Super 7 will be at that one. Um, I'd like to think at some point we'd get some sort of like a preview announcement, like from Brian saying, "Hey, in 2 weeks we'll be showcasing or announcing the next 4 figures in the collector's choice line." So next Thursday or whatever. So I'd like to think it's got to be coming soon because we've got the Club Gray Skull. Those 4 have been announced way back, so it just kind of feels like it should be any day now that we get those next 4. But your guess is as good as mine. I just keep hoping we'll hear something soon.
Yeah, because along those lines, it's what JH4073 just mentioned, which I know I didn't really get in depth because when this announcement was made, it was the week where the week where I wasn't here with Mattel and their whole movie studio thing that they're starting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that, I mean, were they just saying, are they planning on doing like cartoon movies, CG movies, movies with people that are, real people? Was anything announced on that front?
Nope. Just knowing that they have retained the rights for a He-Man movie, whatever they choose to do, they have now the rights to do that. And I guess they can always, kind of like do what they did with the 87 movie where they kind of shop it around and see if Universal wants to do it or if it's not Fox, but Warner Brothers or some. I don't know. I just kind of felt like, or they can just put it out themselves with their own distributors or whatever, something like that.
I'd be curious about it because I guess the one thing that, at least on a positive side, is like, hypothetically, let's say they get some kind of movie going. At least we know it's their rights. It won't be some limbo crap like how when they did the 87 movie and, but Mattel can't make this figure because they don't own this and they don't have that and it's to this rights. And it's like, you remember how anytime you see it online, everybody's brain exploded. They're like, okay, the cartoon's separate from the movie, and then they got these comics, and they got She-Ra. It's just so much spread everywhere. It's like a headache. So I guess, if there was a possibility they made a great movie, and, it'd be nice if something like that happened. At least we know it's within Mattel and they have it.
Yeah, it's no longer with Sony, so it's not, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. Whether Mattel does anything with it or anything good with it, that's up in the air. But just thank God it's out of Sony's hands because they're already going to screw up Venom and anything else associated with that. So I think we dodged the bullet by not getting anything from those morons at Sony.
Yeah, it's just been in limbo, like you said, anyway. So yeah, I guess we won't even sweat it. But before we get into some of these main topics, like I said, a cool story and a bio on a character and other stuff coming up. Toki Deathhammer had one question for Tyler real quick. Said, what if the only way they make a He-Man movie is if Chris Pratt is one of the main characters? He said, what character do you make him? His silence might mean...
I know what. The first Royal Guardsman to get killed.
Yeah, he's got to be the guy that's always in the background.
Yeah, the guy that either gets mauled by Beastman or eaten by Panther or drowned by Merman or, blasted by Trapjaw and Triclops at the same time, or having, his neck broken by Jitsu's chop, or have him crushed to death by Clawful's hand, or Evil Ant just, smacks him and he falls off a cliff. I don't care. It's just as long as he's the first Royal Guardsman that bites the dust. And if you have to make sure you show his face, make sure you do it on the way down hitting the rocks. Or something.
That's the only time you'd see it. Otherwise, it's like behind that guard that you always see, that mouth guard. But then as he's falling, like I said, off a cliff and the mask kind of flies off, then you see him screaming, boom, before he hits the rocks at the bottom.
Yeah, and then I'd be the loudest guy in the theater at that one.
He's cheered. Like, that's the only time
yes, I will gladly cast him in that role. There you go.
All right. Well, what did you want to talk about first? Did you want to talk about this story, which is it's a pretty cool, interesting story, and has some characters?
Let's talk. Hey, we're talking about Fawn on the Jagged Rocks and stuff like that. Let's talk about Demons of the Deep.
Demons of the Deep, which one of those books that has a cover where I never really paid attention too closely, but then when you did, you're like, how did that happen? Because Fisto's like on the cover of that book, and his giant fist is flesh colored, which I'm sure it was obviously a simple coloring error because then within the book itself, it's back being silver. But this is also one of those stories where I think you could see his hand would open and close, not just being depicted as one giant hand, if you notice that. But this also has Jitsu in it, which which I love seeing Jitsu. But anytime he was there, I was always wishing we'd see more. He didn't really get to showcase and do a lot, but I got excited. I just remember anytime, and Fred Carrillo did the art, and I love Fred Carrillo.
I love his art.
Yeah.
He draws
Anytime
some badass looking heroes and villains. He really, really does.
he does. I mean, because like he drew in the giant book of evil warriors, and they have the heroic one and the evil one. That's the one where it has a full colored like picture of a character, and on the back it has them and a description of their bio. And I always love the picture of Jitsu he drew where he's chopping through this gigantic tree, but each piece is just a giant full color poster size. So yeah, I was just giddy seeing Jitsu, even though I know he did not do much in this. But this one also, it has a unique story of Skeletor. Well, now he has an underground lair, which is his Castle Grayskull. It's kind of bizarre to see, but there's a Castle Grayskull underwater where he's creating these mechanical sea creatures that's going to help him, hopefully, doing some kind of concrete. He figures, well, if he can't get the real Castle Grayskull and he can't stop He-Man above, water, maybe he'd be able to lure him down there, and there's no way that He-Man would be able to get into his lair or defeat Skeletor under there. But I remember the first time I seen the story when I was a kid, I was confused because I read too quickly, and I thought somehow Castle Grayskull was transported underwater. I was like, well, which is, and then I realized, oh, Skeletor made this. And if you look closely, if you ever looked at the window, which I'm assuming it was, glassed off, is like you've seen with the rest of parts in the book, there's like a little silhouette of Skeletor looking through like that one, window in Castle Grayskull that's so iconic. Did you ever pay attention to that in that book?
No, I didn't catch that. No.
Yeah, it's a cool little silhouette, but I like how it started with Prince Adam relaxing, a nice day, wanting to hear the music from the Harmony Sea. I couldn't remember if it was called the Harmony Sea, but I know it was just peaceful, and then suddenly the wind stops. Oracle's doing his magic, trying to fish, and bam, here came one of those creatures. But I'll pass it to you. But it's a fun story where you're seeing, like I said, a good amount of characters.
Yeah, it's a small amount, but mixing it up with Jitsu and Fisto, because the book comes out, I think around 84, 85, and they're showcasing. If it came out in 85, it was because it was probably written in 84 when that current wave was out. But it's a good mix, and I'm always fascinated by underwater headquarters for villains, and to have Skeletor's temporary base of operations as a mock-up of Castle Grayskull under the water. Like that's fascinating to me, because I was telling Nathan, like on Transformers, when the Decepticons have their underwater base, the Bionic Six, Dr. Scarab's got his underwater base. It's just really, really cool for villains to have it underwater. I mean, I can't explain it, but I'm sure if people like that, they know what I'm talking about. And I just thought that would be a fun thing to see, even though not all the time, but it would be fun to see that as like a base that Skeletor would go back to periodically. Like, that would be a place that Merman would probably operate out of, and that Skeletor would show up periodically or something like that. It's because the idea of making a Castle Grayskull and putting it underwater, like story-wise, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I mean, I just assume he creates his own underwater base, for whatever
like
reason.
a little sick obsession of his. He's so obsessed on needing Castle Grayskull and wanting it that he figures, damn it, I'll build one. And like you said, it is a little absurd in building it underwater, but that's how badly he wants. Is like, I want a Castle Grayskull. Well, damn it, I'll have one. It'll be underwater. I remember when the book first started, and you've seen that giant creature grab Tila and take it underwater. I just, like many people, figured, okay, this is Merman that's controlling some beast. Here we go. What's going on? And then it's a twist. Sure, Merman's in it. I mean, he is down there, but Skeletor's base, and he's he has a little computer that he's using to control these things. But as He-Man, before he follows them, he knows he's going to need help. Battlecat goes back, gets Fisto, gets Ram Man, and then the Sorceress flies because she knew there was danger, and she used her magic to summon this golden raft that, as long as they're on this, there's no matter how bad the sea is, it won't take them off of it. But eventually, then they get out to where the lair would be. They all go underwater. And from later, when you see, too, also there's a magic that's protecting them, obviously, to swim and be able to breathe. Because I used to wonder, how the hell are they breathing or talking or doing anything? But it's a spell by the sorceress. But it is cool then to see them get down into this lair that they figure Skeletor's like, nobody can get in. And out of all people, Ram Man's the one, I guess, that was supposed to bust it in the doors to get there. But I always love seeing Fisto show up. Anytime him and Jitsu, it was a quick fight, which you've seen with, Fisto hit Jitsu, but I wanted something so much more. I don't feel like we ever got a really big, great, beyond Clash of Arms where, yes, we've seen something. I just wanted more of an epic fight almost just between those two, probably because it's the gimmick of the toys. Both the big smashing hands, and it was something I always wished. And this book could have did it, but as you know, since this is a story book and not really a comic, they're limited to just basically that one picture per page. So you're reading more of a description of everything, and they just give you one part of the description of that fight or whatever's happening.
It is, and it's even though Jitsu was used in the Rock Wars as well, he's used sparingly, but enough. But kind of, I'd say probably a little bit more than this one. Um, but I still kind of feel like, what was it about the character that, I mean, because we know that Filmation had their concerns about an Asian based character for a villain, thinking people would be upset about it. But obviously, Mattel didn't see it that way, because he's used in some of the mini comics, some of the books, a few other appearances here and there. So I kind of feel like, were they not concerned? And if they were, they seem to kind of fall. I mean, not that he was used that much, but I still can't help but feel like Mattel must have not been too concerned about releasing an Asian character that was a bad guy. I maybe
Just
that
in the
kind of led to
cartoon,
why he.
do you think they were just more concerned of seeing him in the cartoon where you're watching and hearing him talk and thinking, oh God, we don't want to definitely push any buttons and do anything that could seem too offensive, like if he spoke and possibly had, back in those days, one of the stereotypical, accents that,
Well,
maybe
see,
they
that's
were
the
just.
thing too. Like when he talks too, Lou Scheimer does a good job of just doing this kind of gruff, deep voice. Like he doesn't sound, like an Asian stereotype. So I thought that worked.
Mhm.
And he's like when they showcase him, like you clearly see him. They don't hide away from him. They show him do his infamous chop and everything. So I just God,
Grimbot say, yeah, Grimbot said, yeah, it was an issue on the cartoon, I guess. So, okay.
yeah, I just kind of feel like maybe Mattel decided to back off after they initially released him and used him in the books and a couple of the mini comics, because then after that he pretty much just disappears, except for like in I think some of the UK annuals and stuff like that. You see him pop up like as part of Skeletor's lineup and stuff like that. Um, it just is it me just because I happen to be a blonde haired white guy that when I look at Jitsu as a kid, I don't I saw him as one of the coolest looking characters of the He-Man toy line. I don't automatically assume all Asian guys are evil. Is that just naive thinking on my part?
I never envisioned. I mean, when I was a kid watching any of those cartoons back then, or playing with any of the figures, I never assumed any race was bad
I
because,
didn't either.
yeah, I was like, there's good guys, bad guys, and some could be Chinese, some could be white, some could be black, and like I said, they had plenty of good and bad characters of every race you could think of in gender, but it's a world of fantasy. That's what Masters is about. That's what sets it apart from a lot of other stories. Is this isn't Earth based? This is fantasy. I mean, for hell, I mean, God's sakes, we got creatures with mechanical noses. We got mosquitoes and antennas and leech. You have creatures and species. It's like at no point did I ever assume any stereotype to anything. It's like just a fun fantasy world of good guys and bad. You want to see the good guys win, and yes, you like to see them in dire straits at times with the bad guys they're fighting and getting out of that situation. But no, I didn't see that. But you're right. I don't know. Maybe there's at times.
I'd be curious if any of our listeners, whether you're currently listening right now or at some point, if you're of another ethnicity, you look at the He-Man toy line as that you felt like it needed, which I was all about. That's why Clamp Champ was such a big deal to me as a kid, to see the first black character. That's one of the cool things I thought as a kid. Like, hey, who's that cool black guy?
And it was awesome.
But
That was it. You're right. You never
yeah,
like when Clamp Champ came out. It's like we've said before. I never said, "Oh, a black guy." You're like, "Oh, a black guy." I mean, anytime there was any figure or any race, you're like, "Awesome." We never judged. I mean, Masters, like I said, had every race, sex you could think of, and beyond, because it's fantasy. But No, I never knew anybody growing up that had an issue saying, "Oh God, here's Clamp Champ, that's the black guy." I'm not gonna, "Oh Ninja, that's somebody who's Asian. I can't play with him." And if they would have released Garn, a Native American version from the mini comic, I couldn't have pictures saying, "Oh no, Native American." I never encountered anybody that acted that way at all. You just embraced it and loved it.
Now, it does make me wonder, though, because they're doing this for kids, but do they really think kids would be the ones to complain? Like, if a young boy is watching He-Man, I'd say a little Asian child is watching Dragon Invasion and sees Jitsu. Seeing Jitsu as a villain is are they assuming that this young boy is going to go tell his parents, "Hey, there was an Asian character on He-Man today, but he was a bad guy. Are we bad people, Mom?" I mean,
Yeah,
is that? I mean, because it literally said that they could not do an evil Asian character or black character if there was not a good Asian or black character on the show as well. I guess that's why Tale of Two Cities, Queen Belina, and Draka are black. Garn is black too.
Yeah, and
But
there was many because, like right here, I mean, first in the chat room, JH4073 was wondering if he was the only black guy. It's like, no, you just heard everybody that Tyler said, along with you had Malaktha and you had Prince Daikon, you had Geldor, Netasa. So no, there was many black characters in the world of Masters and Princes of Power. And Justin Hume brought up a good point in the chat room, speaking about having characters of other races being represented good. And he says, like Mr. Miyagi, he said he was the ultimate good guy. You bet your ass he was. So, I
yeah,
mean, see Mr. Miyagi, it's like, and again, it was, a great character within a movie and a story. And it's not like you looked again, I thought, oh, Mr. Miyagi, some Chinese guy, some Okinawan, some Japanese, or anything that, some people would want to say when they seen the movie and didn't know. I was like, okay, he's just a good teacher and he's teaching Danielson. I don't know, it's weird. I guess some
well, that's
people
what I
can look
kind
at.
of feel like with the. I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's just no. You're right. I guess it's just sometimes I don't know if it's when you're a kid how you're raised, but I never at all at any time looked at these characters and thought less of somebody because of their color or more of. I just seen people, and that's still how I always see it. I just see people and with good stories. That's it.
That's exactly how I've always looked at this. And until the idea of racism or stereotypes of racism or of different ethnicities was introduced, I had no preconceived notions of other races as a child from toys or kids I knew at daycare. I didn't look at them as anything like, you're different looking. It just like, hey, that's my pal Justin. He likes Thundercats and Brave Star. Happened to be black, but I didn't look at him as, oh, he happens to be black. It was just,
Right.
that's Justin. He's my buddy. You know, that was it. So and that's why how I looked at Jitsu. Like, oh my god, this really cool kick-ass Asian guy with like a gold hand, just like Fisto.
Yeah.
I didn't automatically assume that all Asians were bad guys because of that. I really feel like that they're assuming kids, youngsters, 4 and 5, 6 year olds, or even 7, 8, and 9 year olds. I guess it all comes down to parents too, and just assume that kids are going to make those kind of notions when they're watching, cartoons and stuff like that. You know, I, I mean, I just don't think of those kinds of things in such harsh manners and thoughts. Like watching Red Sonja when Ernie Reyes Jr. is playing Prince Tarn. I loved the character as a kid. I thought he was a funny character, and I didn't see him as like oh, he's Asian. Like I just see a fun character.
Yeah, because I
He
remember.
happens to be Asian.
And as for him, I always remember, hey, that's the cool ass kid from Sidekicks, the TV series. Never
Yeah,
like you said, the Asian kid. I was like, man, that's the kid who's kicking ass on Sidekicks. I love that. I was like, man, it made me wish I could do all those moves and stuff. I sit there trying to emulate it. I'm kicking things off the
you're
table
the
by
only person I've ever heard of mention the show Sidekicks.
hey, well, that was quite a while ago. I don't even know if that's ever been released on DVD.
I
So
think it's on YouTube. I think.
oh, is it? Because I was wondering, I was
Yeah.
like, how old would Tyler have been? Would he have even known about sidekicks at the time? I didn't
No,
even.
not as a kid. No, I found out about it years later by accident. I'm like,
Oh,
holy
okay.
hell!
Yeah,
So
it was cool, but no, it's just yeah. Some people might put too much thought into it of thinking that things could be bad. because of portraying somebody a certain way. But like I said, Masters, I wish people could understand that with Masters and Princess of Power, it's different. It's a different story. If you could see a Red Beast character like Beast Man, you already know this is outside the realm of reality. This is not anything that has to do with Earth. It's complete fantasy. You know, if I'm idolizing or love it, damn, I love Beastman, or right here, I love Modulok. You tell me, do you think I can become Modulok? Do you think I can become this thing that has two heads, multiple torsos and bodies and legs? It's fantasy, and you enjoy it. So this is, yeah, Masters and Princess Power is something different that I wish people could understand a little more. That we don't. I don't think I've ever met or really encountered any fan of Masters and Pop that were like racist of any certain kinds of characters and hating. So I've never heard that in any of our. Think of it. Think of all the pages we've gone to, Tyler, and still go to. Do you ever see somebody say they don't like anybody on Masters because of their color? I have never seen that ever.
I don't either. And knowing that the vast majority of the characters are Caucasian for the most part, at least the human based characters, other than Clamp Champ and Jitsu. I mean, yeah, people don't seem to look at that as like this is a very racist toy line. I think any kind of mindset about that is a product of all this bullshit we deal with social media, and the slightest bit of racism that gets brought up gets festered up by the masses and the media, because people will tune in to read articles or listen to interviews concerning racism if it's about negative stuff, because they're not going to promote the positive stuff. But I think overall it's an all encompassing mythology, and that the issue of race, ethnicity is not an issue because it's a vast world. And I like how Larry just said, can I make this character Native American? Can I make this character black? Sure, because they're not defined. So why not? Because it's just more about expanding the world. It's not like Larry had an agenda of saying, okay, any new character that comes in, I'm going to make them all black. Larry was about expanding the races on this planet because it makes sense. Why wouldn't you have that?
Yes.
God,
especially with everything you see. Like I said, look at the characters obviously in back of me. I mean, everything you see, it is a multiverse of different races and species and genders. It's everything that you could imagine and more. I can't think of, like, that's the thing that's always so hard. We always think of, what could they still make for Masters of the Universe? And we're sitting there, thinking, okay, well, they haven't had a werewolf character or a gargoyle, like I like to say, maybe because, I don't know, that's our fantasy with, werewolves and things, and they try to do different. But you got to think, they're always trying to add another thing and another thing and another thing. Just what else could they add to this world of so many different species? And that's why I love Masters so much. I think Masters of the Universe and Princess of Power fans are some of the coolest fans I've ever encountered, because we've grown up with so much diversity. If you look at it, and it's some of the most loving and cool ass people I've ever encountered. I just don't usually see too much hatred. Am I saying there's not some hatred? Okay, sure. I'm sure there's people that might have that, but the majority are just cool ass fans that I love talking to every damn day.
Yeah, and they like to throw out hypotheticals. They like to throw out what ifs. They like to throw out questions of, was there this kind of character? Was there that kind of character? And you know, I feel like too that if you're going to have a lot of these characters, that why not give them an accent? Why not? They don't have to speak like a stereotype or anything like that. But I mean, because I remember me and Nathan had this discussion about the character Spirit on GI Joe. Of like, would that character today be considered offensive? And I told Nathan, I said, if you found it offensive, I think you're an asshole. Because it's not like Spirit is saying, Dusty, him go that away down long trail. Me go chop chop. It's just, he's speaking with an accent, but he's speaking, clear English. He's not speaking with stereotypical the Tonto uh, voice, if you will, or something like that. And with his Native American headband, like, okay, are you saying that no Native American on this planet right now likes to wear a ceremonial traditional headband to honor their ancestors, or maybe a family that they have a very high appreciation for their tribal culture and things like that? Oh, no, you can't do that. It's like he's not walking around with a big headdress and doing this and dancing around like that'd be stereotyping the character. So
Right.
no, so if you found Spirit, on G.I. Joe from a Real American Hero Offensive, you're a prick. So I think if they were to incorporate, a lot of our kind of cultures from all over the world with some characters that are from different ethnicities, that's not saying they're racist because
No,
that's
not
like, okay, so you're saying that all the characters must act the same? Like to me,
right.
that sounds a little egotistical.
That could,
Yeah.
yes. And like even Zen Brown in the chat room, Zen Brown just said, he says, I was a little black kid running around his yard with a He-Man sword stuffed in the back of his shirt. So that's what I mean. It's when there's characters
Yeah.
you idolize and love. That's, I mean, it's color. There is no color. You just love this damn character. If they stand for something good, or even if there's a wicked ass bad character you like I said, Skeletor. I mean, look at this damn guy. He's blue. He's got a yellow face. Nothing like this exists. Well, people love the damn guy.
I
And
wanted to be Jitsu as a kid too. I thought being him or Clawful as a kid would have been awesome to have a big, massive claw or right gold hand and just chop the hell out of stuff or grab stuff. I
heck
didn't
yeah.
think it was like I'm going to be Asian.
Right, that's
It's
what I mean. It's just cool gimmicks, cool looks. And like JH4073, he said, my two buddies at my dad's house were black. He said, we never gave a shit when we played. We just did it. See, that's why I love kids just playing. That's just what you did. Zen Brown even said he was a fan of Zorro, and he said he'd put on his mask riding his
I
bike
was
around
too.
it. See, it's what I mean. It's like
I like Zorro. Hell, when I saw Blade, I'm like, God, I'd love to be Wesley Snipes and Blade. Having all the powers of Blade and being able to act like Blade, fight like Blade, and carry myself. I'm like,
I used to. It is. And, it's funny because I used to get out of the gumball machines beyond He-Man figures and other stuff. I used to love getting a lot of these little fake gold necklaces and put them around, and I'd act like I was Mr. T. I would wet down the sides of my hair because I thought I was like from the A Team. I wet down the sides, and a little bit of poof hair was here, and I thought I was Mr. T. Oh man, see, that's what's great about just like you said, being a kid and just idolizing, loving anybody, and color means absolutely nothing.
yes, and I just love how people in charge of entertainment just assume that all us kids are going to think such evil thoughts if we're not, presented with a certain mentality and presentation and visual of all ethnicities. Like we're just going to walk around because I saw Jitsu and Dragon Invasion attack Raymond. I'm going to go to school on Monday and assume that Aaron in my class is. I guess you're evil because Filmation said so. It just seems so ludicrous.
It is. It is absolutely idiotic, but I like that. I love that little side thing we had there. It all spawned off of Demons of the Deep. So I love when we could get another discussion out of something. Isn't that
but
great?
I'm like that. You know what? We're not afraid to have a conversation about something that people are like, ooh, it's so taboo. You don't dare talk about this. Otherwise, you might be considered a racist or some nonsense like that. Dude, we're all adults here. We know damn well we all share the same input. We're all locked together here. We don't look at these kinds of things the way the media would want us to look at it. We don't buy into that nonsense. We're all friends here. Whether you're listening to us or watching us, we're all buddies. We may not know each other, but we're all linked. Just as tight as Clamp Champ's grip. That's the kind of like bond that we all have here, man.
No,
damn right it is.
It is. I mean, that's why I love it. I mean, I love it in the groups. I love here in this chat room every damn week. I love seeing people in the interaction and hearing it when they're saying the same stuff. They're talking exactly like us. There's no hate in here, and it's just great. That's one thing. It's passion. See, that's the thing. Sometimes they say Masters fans are pretty. They get angry. We're just passionate. There's things we love, and we're going to be vocal.
We
about
don't want to see our stuff mistreated and pissed on because some douchebag in Hollywood would much rather be working on this property. So to get to that, I got to bullshit my way through this silly nonsense of science and fantasy and guys running around in loincloths. Get some clothes on these men here. And sword fights, nobody wants to see sword fights. Guy with a skull face, give him a mask instead.
Oh God, that would have been. I'm glad that didn't come to fruition of Skeletor being somebody wearing a skull mask. Oh, that would have been an absolute disaster for a movie. Oh God, I would have hated that.
Yeah, I think that's part of that Justin Marks like lame ass script. Like he was wearing like a mask over his face to hide his deformity. Just wanted the people of eternity to love him. What horse shit.
Yes, that's definitely hate the Skeletor I would ever.
You think I'm making that up? People look up the Justin Marks script for Master of the Universe. That's part of the script.
Yeah, there's been some doozies, as we spoke of earlier. There's been a lot of scripts. This has been going on for years. But Fedmon asked, he said, Joe, have you ever seen the golden VHS version of this story, Demons of the Deep, on YouTube? I know it's on YouTube. I honestly don't know if I have watched. I know that, we've seen with the VHS stories, they obviously, well, have voice, and sometimes even add a little scenes of a quick little animation or flash. I've watched some. Like, it's cool, like we spoke of, like, Caverns of Fear and some of the other early ones. I always love that in the books, Man at Arms has no mustache because it was pre-filmation. But when filmation came out with Man at Arms with a mustache, well, they added that into the VHS versions. They're like, most people know, Man at Arms with a mustache. We're gonna add it. So I like little tweaks and stuff like that. But I don't think I've seen Demons of the Deep. I'll have to give it a shot. What about you, Tyler? You ever watched Demons of the Deep on YouTube?
That's the only way I've known the stories through the Golden Book tape. I never owned the book. I've
Oh,
never come
okay.
across it. So it's strictly
Were
getting
there
that
any
tape at the
tweaks?
hill.
Any tweaks that were different from the book itself, like with
I don't know
character
because I never read the
design?
book. I've
Oh,
only watched the VHS. That's the only way I know the story.
Oh, I thought maybe. Okay, I didn't know if within years you might have read on He-Man.org, maybe seen the pictures, but okay, all right.
No, yeah, all the ones like Maze of Doom, Demons of the Deep, and of course, well, Rock Wars I did come across. So that one I do own, and I have read that one. But the other two I never saw in person, and being that I saw the tape, I'm like, well, didn't really feel the need to look up the story because I'd had the first Golden Book tape, had all those books, and they followed the stories pretty much verbatim. So I didn't really feel like I was seeing anything different that the tapes were adding that the books didn't have, or vice versa, or something like that. So that's what the main reason why I never sought those out and looked them up on He-Man.org, which, if you
Yeah.
aren't familiar with the story, is available on there. And as was mentioned, both VHS tapes are available on YouTube right now to watch.
Oh yeah, no, they are, and it's like the other differences that I noticed. I mean, I went from the book with the record or tape that I listened to then seeing the VHS ones, not Demons of the Deep, but I've seen some of the VHS ones, converted. And when I not only seen some of the differences, but heard the different voices, I was like, well, this is cool. It made each one feel fresh and different. You can either read it or listen to the record, or watch the VHS one with tweaks and also different voices. Like you said, that's how you always know. She said when you heard for the first time the record ones, you thought, wow, those sounded weird. But you said the VHS one, at least they felt like they were trying to emulate Filmation's
Yeah, it felt
aesthetic.
very close to Filmation, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
At
So
least, I mean, in terms of like what they're going for, like as a kid, I'm like, I buy that's Beastman. I buy that's Merman because of the bubbly voice. Skeletor's was very menacing. He-Man's was very heroic. You know, I loved it. Still do.
yeah, so there's a lot of great things to interpret in different ways. But well, that's that book. And quickly, Zen Brown said, Joe, he says, have you seen the movie He Man and the Masters of None? I I don't know what that is. Was that the one that was
Is that Thai movie or
that's what I
that?
was just gonna ask him, because if it's that one, I think I have. There's been some cool ass crazy things I've seen on YouTube, and if that is the one, the Thai version, then yes, I've seen that. So, but he's gonna have to confirm. I'm assuming that is what he's
Yeah, I
talking.
think that's probably what he's talking about too.
So, but all right, well, let's move in before we get into a lot of questions from you guys in the chat room of whatever you want to ask. We're now going to talk about King Randor. We've had a lot of different versions of King Randor as well. Some very elderly looking versions. The gray beard kind of looking very old. Sometimes where he still looks stout and young, but with the gray beard. Then his Filmation look. Then his MYP look. But some of your thoughts and first impressions of King Randor, Tyler.
I like the character. I don't feel like he's written consistently well, but then again, too, he's not a main part of the series. I think he became that, and obviously, I think he became a much more prominent character on the NYP show. And I liked his, the way they used him in such a prominent role consistently. He's not in every episode, but when he does show up, he makes a presence. I didn't like a lot of his dialogue. I didn't like it's like seeing him flipping around and bouncing all over the place, just like everybody else. Like, this is a bit silly. Um, I think you should have been a lot more grounded and just being a great warrior who could sword fight and kick anyone's ass. But I mean, he wasn't portrayed horribly by any means. It just, I felt like it could have done better. Filmation's always gonna be my favorite because he was pretty consistently portrayed the same way. Some episodes better than others, but never to the point where you kind of feel like this guy's a schmuck or he's just a goof or Filmation, for the most part, Pate took a lot of great care with He-Man's parents, Prince Adam's mother and father, and they could have been easily throwaway characters, and I think thanks to Lou Scheimer's voice work on King Randor, I think helped intensify his presence, and I think the writers often saw that this was this dynamic of Adam disappointing his father all the time. What is his father thinking? His father's always disappointed, and it carries over into like the newspaper strips. Like saying you need to see how things are done, Adam, because you're going to be king one day. You need to sit in on these kind of meetings. Like that kind of aspect is hammered a lot in the episodes, and that makes sense because as a king, you never stop dwelling on the duties. You never stop reminding your son this is going to be your job someday, whether you like it or not. So you need to know how it's done. So I like that, but I feel like there's a lot of fun to be had with King Randor, and I think Prince Adam No More really hammers that home, like the depth of that character. That he admits that I'm a hard ass, but I do love my son. And I want nothing better for him. I like that.
Yeah, and I also see. I'm glad they didn't go with going into the cartoon because remember how we seen King Randor before Filmation, and like how he was in the DC comics, very elderly, along with Queen Marlena. And I'm glad that those versions weren't in the cartoon. I don't know, they looked just very elderly and just it was something that, well, of course, before the cartoon, well, hell, that's the only way I'd really know them. But I got used to that cartoon version. Some things pre-Filmation I enjoy more. Some I like Filmation, but that's the King Randor I'd rather see. Like there was even, I think, in the PowerPoint Dread, that record book, King Randor was there, but I don't think he was ever really referenced as Prince Adam or He-Man's dad because I don't even think Prince Adam was not in that story. Yeah. So there was no Prince Adam. So that was different seeing a King Randor that had no relation to He-Man, seeing King Randor in that aspect. But yes, we got him in Filmation. He had his real great time to shine, of course, in Search for Keldor mini comic, taking that spear of his and throwing it to Faker's chest. It's like, check out King Randor getting down, and, wondering the whole time, who the hell is this Keldor guy that he's wanting to see, when he's looking for, his, brother. But yeah, it's something that I wish we could have got more of the story of that. But I did like seeing him getting down in there. I loved his little figure. I remember the first time I seen the figure along with all the other ones that came out that in that wave. I mean, I lost it. You think, why the hell would he get so excited for a damn king? But damn it, did he look cool. I was like,
yeah.
King Randor in figure form, along with the sorceress and every other figure that they showed. It's like, that was a hell of a moment. But yeah, MYP, like I said, you've seen a little more with, the Captain Randor and then, kind of getting in some, like, different outfits when he'd want to fight. But I'm not a fan either of too much of the flipping and crazy crap that MYP did. I love seeing him fight with Skeletor and Keldor, but I love seeing him, of course, like you said, when you had King Randor and He-Man fighting against Skeletor, that was a cool ass moment. So I do like
it was.
It was. So I don't think I really hate any version. There's not a version I really hate. Like I said, his old version is just to me, but he's a character that has a lot of different depth depending on where you're reading it from and what you're getting out of it or want out of it.
And it does kind of make you wonder why they waited so long to release a Randor figure, because when the 87 Way comes along, you get the Sorceress Randor, you kind of feel like, why the hell haven't we gotten these before? Like, you just kind of, for them to be such prominent characters, or featured in many of the many comics, most of the film episodes, they're used in various storybooks and things like that, but there's no action figures of the king.
Do you think? I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was one.
No, you're cool, dude.
It's what I was always curious about is, do you think people were thinking, oh, just be too boring to have the king and queen, and who'd want to play with them? But hell, I played with them, and I loved having them, feel like he was a ruler. I always waited for the Queen Marlena. I wanted to have the whole family together, but I assumed that maybe they were figuring a king figure wouldn't be too exciting, especially when they were going into all these new gimmicks with figures of somebody glowing, somebody squirting, stuff out of his nose, blood dripping in a chest. We had the gimmick stuff that really started kicking in, so maybe they thought he was too boring. But like you said early on, they could have kind of had one maybe before a lot of the gimmick stuff came. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it could have been just a possibility if they thought it wasn't an exciting figure?
Maybe because he just, was just kind of there to kind of expand the initial group that Adam slash He-Man interacts with. That there's a king and queen that kind of rule Eternia. He-Man's kind of off on his own and helps them out when they need it. And then when they decide to tie them together, it's plus, releasing a King Randor the way they did and like a armor with a spear and a cape. That's not like the cliche, sitting on royal throne King Randor. This is a Randor that looks like he's ready for battle. So that's why when I first saw him, I thought, oh my god, like this looks awesome. Like King Randor, like this, it just didn't look. I mean, the face, yes, looked like filmation. To me, it did. But to see the body armor and the color motif he had, and the beautiful blue cape and the gold spear, I thought, God, man, that looks awesome, man. And obviously, he's depicted as a man of action in the 87 wave of many comics, from Enter Bossar Hordak, Search for Keldor. He's not there just to sit on the throne. He's there to, if there's trouble, he's going to get himself out. He's got to go, he's going to get his ass kicked for the most part because He-Man is going to have to save the day. That's how we know it's written. But he's a man of action, and I think that's taking that. And maybe they talked about that, but maybe that's why they decided not to release him until later, because they realized we can't release a king because look at him. He's a regal-looking character. A young boy is not going to ask for that in the toy op, but you release him as someone who's ready for action. That makes a big difference. Now with Queen Marlena, like in that famous ad that they drew up of all the roster of all the heroes together, and Queen Marlena is featured in that ad, made me always wonder that there must have been a Queen Marlena figure on down the pipeline. Had they released one though, I mean, I would have loved to have had that had I seen it in the store, just so I could say I have a Queen Marlena. But it'd have been like kind of like the sorceress, where you would use her as a young boy playing out the stories. You use her as a to help He-Man or to help guard Grayskull. Like Queen Marlena, you probably use her as someone who gets captured by Skeletor or the Horde or something like that. I can't see her being displayed with body armor or something like that, like King Randor would.
Which
Not that
they
I'm
at
saying they
least
couldn't do
tried.
that.
Right, because they did it with MYP. You're right, MYP. They
Yeah.
tried to, get her to be doing some ass kicking. And hell, I mean, she took care of who was that she threw? Was it Skeletor she threw around in Secret of the Sword at the beginning, or
Oh yeah,
remember?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she got to do her stuff. But you're right. I mean, there's just some characters, and like I said, I think King Randor had that same fate. They're probably thinking the King and Queen, I can't do much of them. But you figured, oh, okay, well with King Randor, let's give him a spear, and maybe still he looks buff. Guys that want to do something with him. But the Queen, they were probably, I bet you they wanted to, but they were just really debating. Like the Sorceress, oh, I shit my pants when that figure came out too. It's like, finally. And I love the gimmick of her wings on. And I used to put her on top of Kessel Grayskull and put her in the windows, and like she would shoot powers, in my head. She's shooting powers to help He-Man in battle. So she got some good play. I mean, the figures back then for the females were pretty much usually, yes, in battle. Eva Lynn and Tila, they're doing a lot of, especially Eva Lynn with your imagination, making her use magic. But I think it could have been hard for kids to use their imagination for the Queen. Would I have not bought her? Hell no, I would have bought her just
Yeah,
like that.
I would have too.
Yeah, but you're right. There's some characters. I mean, hell, I'm gonna say the same thing. It's like with me. That's why I didn't really flip over Stratos. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was cool to act like he was flying, but for me, he just kind of always looked plain. So it happens. There's certain characters that maybe just people get worried about, but I think there would have been no issue with her selling. People would have bought her and probably displayed her with all the rest of the figures.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm sure there was reasons, but I wonder who would know that. Who would know for a fact? Because I know a lot of these guys that worked in that stuff, they don't remember everything. But, I almost feel like, gradually information over the years slowly slips out of like what was coming, what were they thinking, what were they had planned to do, what got scrapped. That ad always makes me think that there was, because everybody that was an action figure up to that point is in that advertisement.
I bet
King Randor is not in there, but Queen Marlena is.
it's only a matter of time. As many things have been popping up as we've seen from what James has shown when Andy Yelsey was showing his thing with the Lords of Power, and I bet you it's only a matter of time before some weird concept stuff's gonna pop up in somebody's damn pack of papers, and somebody's gonna buy it. They're like, wow, look at this concept, of Queen Marlena and possible prototypes of figures. You give it time and watch it show up.
I'd be curious because with the next wave that had Strobo, Slamurai, and the Snake Horde Troopers and Lord Grasp and Hot Shot and stuff like that. You know, maybe that's a verification right there. If there was no card art for Queen Marlena, maybe it was just a sheer coincidence that she shows up in this ad. But it still makes you feel like the guy who drew that ad had to have been shown an image of Queen Marlena, and like the ad is like on sale bi-monthly. Okay, all these figures in this ad you can buy right now, but not Queen Marlena. Like it's there's an unsolved mystery for you. God, man, that's a segment in itself.
Unsolved master.
Where's Robert Stack when we need him?
Right, coming out from the darkness, the music playing. Yeah, that's something we would need. So, but no, King Randor, yeah, on a whole, another character we've never really discussed. That's why I figured it'd be cool to discuss him.
It seemed like such a no-brainer when you suggested, like, oh my god, like, dude, we haven't discussed King Randor. Like, how the hell do we not have done that? How am I writing my brain over in this? Like, I was going into a complete brain fart.
No, but it is strange, we've had it so many times. Like, Tyler, did I discuss that, or did we discuss it? And you're like, yeah, we did. And then sometimes we're like, well, then when we go back, we're like, Joe, actually, we did, but we didn't because we were talking about one of the books and we were talking about him from that book. But it seemed like it was about, there's so much. Like I said, there's so much to cover that. Yeah.
Hey, we're approaching 150 episodes. We're gonna get to a point where we're like, okay, if we did talk about that, what else can we have to offer that's going to make people want to tune in and listen to another discussion on Spike or something like that,
Right, which is, there's plenty on that. And also, Grimbot wanted to know where he could see the ads you were talking about, if there's anywhere.
Oh, in the Star Comics, I think it was the issue number 2 with the Meteors was the first time I saw it. Here, I've got a blown up copy on my fridge. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey, because that's what I was figuring too, Grimbot. I thought that's what you're asking, is where it's scanned. So I think if you did go to He-Man.org, I know the one he's talking about, but I couldn't remember the actual ad itself of which comic, because I thought at one point it was shown twice. But yeah, I think if you were to do a quick little pop of He-Man.org, you could probably find that picture. But no, that's it. Like I said, I mean, not that it's the end of the show, but I did want everybody in this chat room, like I said, you go ahead and start getting ready some questions, because after he shows this, we'll answer any questions you want from the mini comic, cartoon, toys, anything you want to ask us. But go ahead, Tyler.
My dad had this blown up for me when I had my appendix taken out. He had like a couple of mini comic covers blown up, and he just picked this random ad out of one of my Star Comics, went to mailboxes, etc., or something. They just had these images blown up. So when I came home from the hospital, I had all these nice big blow ups of Clash of Arms, Grizzlors, a mini comic, and this.
That's nice.
Can you see it all right there?
Yes.
And as you see, Queen Marlena is up near the top where Clamp Champ is at. Right. Mossman's right below her. The Sorceress is next to her. If you can't see her, I'll move it in a little closer that way you can clearly see. There's Queen Marlena next to Clamp Champ.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we can see that.
You see Mecha Neck is blue skin.
I always every time I looked at that ad, I remember the Cyclone thing just drove me nuts with his chest. As a kid, I was like, what in God's name is up with his chest? But I knew that, like I said, I knew the ad you were talking about. I was trying to tell him where on the org to find it, but I was like, well, I figured you would be able to bring that quick enough and show him.
I mean, that was just sheer coincidence. I don't have stuff like that. I don't have everything like readily available because a lot of it's all boxed up. But I did happen to have this. Seems random for me to have this on my fridge, but I do because that's the kind of stuff I have in my refrigerator. But yeah, I've ever since I saw this ad, that was one of the things that stuck out the most to me was Queen Marlena sitting there so prominently. So I always wondered, like, we were supposed to get her. Why didn't we get her? Just another unsolved mystery, people.
Another one. Did they ever say who that artist was that did that? Because I don't think I ever seen who the artist was. And yes,
No,
that does. Oh, okay. And yes, Delta 78 that does have Rotar and Twistoid on it. Another rare time you
just
see them.
Rotar. It's all heroic warriors. We got Extendar, Orko, Cyclone, Sorceress, Queen
Oh,
Marlanet, Clamp Champ. Yeah.
well, at least yeah,
It's,
that's another rare time you can see one of the Energy Zoids, besides
yeah.
maybe a
Yeah.
gigantic
Yes.
poster.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody here from the heroic warriors roster that's missing. Everybody's here.
Cool. That's a cool
Yeah.
piece. Your
So
dad picked two
badass.
things to pick that one. That's
I don't know why he did because I've never shown this to my dad. So we just sitting in the hospital and he goes through my books and just, I'll take this and I'll grab that. I'll grab this and take it down there and blow it up and it'd be great. And I had these hanging up my bedroom wall since I was in high school and I've just continued to carry them over and they've been on display ever since in some form or another. Somewhere,
I
when I've moved,
regret.
or
The one thing I regret the most was hanging up all the posters. I loved hanging them up, the ones that came out of the magazines. But remember, those are the ones that had a lot of they had the stories on them, the comic stories in the
yeah,
past. And God, I just love taking them out and taping them. And of course, tape would rip half the posters. But when you're a kid, you love displaying all that art. So I had
yeah.
all my posters hung up. And that's why it's like, shoot, some people are like, hey, you going to order a new one? It's like, man, this has got character. This is my childhood poster. It might have a little rip, but damn it, I still love it.
Yeah, God knows how many posters I damaged over the years because of thumbtacks and tape. I had
Yeah.
posters of Kathy Ireland and Tyra Banks and
Yeah, I
posters
had
from
a
the
lot
Batman
of
Forever release and stuff. God, man, I had a lot
I
of
had a lot
posters
of
over the years.
Tyra.
All kinds of
I Tyra on
yeah. Oh,
my
I had a nice Tyra. Her like a lemon yellow bathing suit. I mean, I just
I have that one, the
stayed in my
gold
room, just kind
one,
of gawked at that poster.
one where she was in like a blue bathing suit, because she had the one from the front, one from the side, almost one slightly from the back. Had it on my one door, then on my sliding doors for my closet. I had one there and one there. And it was talk about a crazy obsession. Jesus. Oh man, not crazy bad, crazy good. I was yeah. Damn it, I loved going to Spencer's. I'm like, come on, where's the new tire ones? You flip through all the posters.
Oh yeah, got to go to the back and see where all the somewhat nudie posters were all at. Like, oh man.
I did. I got so damn giddy, man. It was. I don't even know if they have posters like that at Spencer no more.
They
Where you
they
flip.
still do. I mean, since Spencer's has gone back to having the more kind of adult themed stuff in the store. Like I think the last time I went in there was like last Christmas with my brother, and we just wandered around there for fun. And of course, we decided like old times to go back and flip through the posters, and we are like, look at that girl's ass. Look at that one. Look at that one.
You know,
So they're still there, and they're still fun to look at.
the biggest. Oh, they are the biggest disappointment for me with Halloween Resurrection. Beyond the movie just being an abomination, the only saving grace for me when I was watching, thinking something good, was like, Tyra's in this. Oh my god, maybe there'll be a nude scene, possibly, or show a
I
breast.
always knew Tyra was not going to do nude, man. She
I
was.
was hoping.
We were not that lucky.
I was. Oh, I was I mean, I was desperately hoping, like, please show me something. And I was like, we didn't even get to see her death, and there was nothing. I was like, well, that sucked because, man. So damn, that was my other letdown. That's why I never like revisiting Halloween Resurrection. Beyond being a horrible movie, I'm like, I didn't get to see nothing from Tyra, so I don't care about that movie. How did it
Yeah, I
all?
haven't seen this entirely since the theater. I intend to keep it that way.
What a bad movie. But well, guys, like I said, right now, if you want, ask us any questions because, well, like I said, it's from the mini comics, cartoon, possible movies, things you'd like, maybe you think we'd like to see, or anything you want to ask. Go ahead and do it right now in the chat room. And while you're getting your questions ready, I can ask Tyler if he has anything he wants to recommend while you're doing that.
I always like to suggest checking out Axel Jimenez's artwork. Check out Kevin Sharp's artwork. Go to He-Man.org, of course, if you want to see what Demons of the Deep is all about, or the Star Comics. Check out John Adkins' site, He-Man World. John does a great movie Facebook page just based on the movie. So any kind of fun post regarding the A7 movie, check out that Facebook page. He posted recently the cover for the War and Peace issue of the unreleased Star Marvel Comics line that's got He-Man in the movie outfit on the drawbridge with Mosquito, Squeeze, and movie troopers all charging at the drawbridge. Like, oh my god, dude, there has got to be somewhere more of that book because James posted the first page of the book with He-Man slicing through one of the Batmechs from the Horde. I'm like, oh my god, like there's got to be more out there of that comic book. There's got to
Well, you
be.
don't hear much about Fat Mex at all, do you?
No, no, but it was just, you know, God, it's just knowing that the movie elements were featured so prominently in that story, and we never got it.
Yeah.
God,
What a pisser.
yes, those are my recommendations for people this week.
All right. Well, okay. Adam Gabbard has a question, and I've been trying to looking back at you ever since he said this. He says, Joe and Tyler, what are your thoughts on some of the Masters of the Universe calendars? He says, because I see one behind Tyler's shoulder that is Skeletor. Do you have a calendar back here?
Yeah,
What,
it's
what
from
the hell?
last year.
Is that the one, the Filmation style one?
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. Here are my thoughts, Adam. I felt so bad. I remember when those calendars were first shown. I was like, "Oh, great! We get to see the Filmation characters now in the calendar and stills." Like I said, I love the cartoon, but I was like, "We kind of got some new, amazing, great art." I mean, God,
And I'm the same way about it. You know,
well,
I'm glad to have the calendar, but to me, I'm like, dude, I'm sick and tired of still seeing the same generic, recycled, not exact Filmation designs that slapped on
but
every damn
still,
T-shirt.
yeah. It annoyed me, and I remember I was like, I'm not getting this. I don't really want it. And my sister, who does not watch the podcast, here came Christmas, and she's like, "Here, Merry Christmas, Joe." And I see this shape. I'm like, "Sweet Jesus, please tell me." I'm just thinking in my head. I was like, "Please tell me this ain't that Filmation calendar." Like, hey, I was like, "Yeah, it's that calendar." I said, "Thanks." She's like, "You like it?" I was like, "No, it's cool." I said, "Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it." And I didn't have it in my heart to tell her.
Is that what you said? You like it? No, it's cool.
I said, "Hey," I said, "Cool." I said, "Thanks." I couldn't tell her. Oh, Kel, this damn cat. I mean, because it still is cool, and I like that she got it for me. I would have never paid for it myself, but I was thinking, oh God, I got the calendar that I would have never bought in my entire life because of these damn.
I was because Erica got it for me, I think for Christmas too. I wouldn't have bought it because it's that cliche Filmation artwork. But I'm glad she did buy it because I wasn't going to buy it for myself because of that.
Yeah, see, both of us got it as a gift because we weren't going to buy it. And what's funny is, do you remember the Lace calendar, which I still own that one back in the day? Those took the actual beautiful pieces of art of, William George and others and put those in the months, like box art stuff. I was like, now that's a cool ass looking calendar. And if I could see amazing paintings, I would have been all behind that. But no, thanks for that, Adam. Yeah, I'd never buy them, even if they made more. I'm never going to buy any. So, JD Gibson said, "What are your guys' thoughts on the new Super 7 figures that were just released?" And I don't know if he was referring to any of the 5.5 inch or 6.5 inch. I'm assuming you mean 6.5 inch ones that were probably shipped, right?
Yeah. Mine are on the way. Hopefully they'll be here sometime this week. But God Almighty, that's something I cannot wait to finally have. Dial-a-Mug, Card, Rat Trap, and Granada in hand, along with Filmation Merman, Filmation Manny Faces, and Sorceress and Tongue Lasher. It's 8 figures that I'm just dying to get my mitts on, especially Dial-a-Mug and Card. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, Dial-a-Mug and Card are toppers. They're definitely the toppers. So, and as for me, I just haven't ordered figures in 3 years, so I don't know. But they all look cool as hell, JD Gibson. So, thanks for that one. Let me see. Tyler. JSP said, "Tyler, did you get Axel's PowerCon exclusive print?"
No, I know Axel. I was told that he was going to, I guess, sell them, but Axel knows I always want his prints. So he hasn't been feeling too good here recently. So I've conversed with him a little bit about that, but I'm hoping at some point I will be able to ask him about, especially about the Fangor PowerCon printed. That's the one I want the most of. That and the tribute to Mark Taylor's original designs of He-Man, Skeletor, Beastman, and Man at Arms. Like that, I really want too.
Okay.
So when Axel's feeling a little bit better and more able to talk more frequently, I'll ask you about how can I get a copy of that, because I want all 3 of them, because even though the Shiver one's got a lot of pink on it, it's still Shiver characters.
Well, I hope he gets well,
and they look beautiful too. So I need to have that one too.
Yeah, and hopefully Axel will get well soon, bud.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Fedmon. Now, I didn't know the context of what he means, if he means like in real life or if he means for classic possibly, but he says, "What beast from Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power, New Adventures would you like to have? Any era, doesn't matter if it's good or evil." I don't, Fedmon, I didn't know if you meant in real life or if you meant for classics made, so I'll have to see if he follows that up. Wait, let me see which one from. Hold on, I'm scrolling down. Yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait for him to clarify what he meant because I didn't know. So until I get that clarification, I'll go on to the next thing. Zen Brown said issue 3 of the Injustice Masters of the Universe crossover was just released. Yeah, it was, and I actually have got. No, I haven't got. I have issue 1 and 2, but I didn't have the money to get out and get part 3. If it's still available at my comic shop this coming week coming up, then I'll pick it up. And Zen Brown said, I've been meaning to get that calendar. I hope you're joking, Zen Brown. You don't want that damn Filmation calendar. You don't want it. It's not good. Okay. JSP said he'll probably get one. I don't know if he meant the calendar. Fedmont says, I hope the next version of the calendar is with ladies only, preferably in bikinis or less. Fedmont, you dirty, dirty man. Let's see. Zentron, he says, which one-off... Okay, here's a different question. He said, which one-off villain from the Filmation cartoons would you have liked to have become a reoccurring character? Oh, man, there's
honestly, I would have said Mask because I feel like Mask could have been someone that you could use team up with Skeletor working on his own, teaming up with Evelyn on his own, trying to bring back Chakotay.
Yeah, Chakotay yourself, another one. Chakotay, yeah. My God.
But I think Mask would have worked really well, like on his own multiple times, like just him hiring Trapjaw, and working on his own, and says, "All right, I shouldn't have trusted you." Goes out on his own.
More of Icer. There could have been more of Icer and characters. Damn, there's so many. There's one that I really would love, but the reason I wouldn't want to become a reoccurring character is they would have dumbed down his powers, and I wouldn't have liked to seen that when we talk about Shigora. Shigora was the absolute, for me, one of my favorite one-off characters from Filmation cartoon, but he was so damn powerful. I wanted him, off. I wanted him to be sent away. That took the combined powers.
Well, see, that's kind of how I feel about Chakotay. Like I feel like
she'd be too powerful, and they would dumb her down.
Because I feel like you're hyping her up for 2 episodes, So I feel like, and she's done to perfection. But Mask, even though he's done to perfection too, he's the one of the two that I could easily see as someone that's linger around the shadows of Grayskull,
There's certain ones
with his own agenda.
Yeah, because Icer could have done the same as well as Batros. You could even have got more of your characters, Azrog and Spydra.
Damn right you could have. I mean,
no, really.
To have them more is like, see, that's the thing. Azrog's a Trawlin villain teaming up with an Eternian witch. Like, you could have had Spydra team up with Evelyn or Skeletor or Triclops or, Kothos or something like that. Azrog causing havoc on Trala. I feel like any of the Trawlin-based episodes, you could have brought Azrog back. Like that episode where, it's Trouble in Trala, where they have Snoop and the Council of Trala and everything like that. And they have Whiplash trying to learn magic. It's silly. It's nonsense. That should have been Azrog manipulating Snoop so he could gain control of the council and everything like that. Oh God, it's magical. It's just
hell, even characters like there's even characters that like my big boy when we have Cambro. We never got to expand more on him. You heard how he excelled in science in his class, and he's very smart, very intelligent, can work on machinery and stuff too. But you can picture this big ass guy that not only super powerful and could fight, but what if he's somebody that could take off some of the weight off of the Man-at-Arms shoulders of what Man-at-Arms is always creating? Because since Cambro is somebody that could study and work with him, maybe there's times Cambro could be inventing some of these weapons, some of these vehicles, and maybe give Man-at-Arms more times to get in there and take care of business and fight. It would have been cool to see more of Cambro. He was a character that I really did as a kid. I thought we were getting more of. It kind of felt like that was being implied, towards the end. I was like, hey, I want to see more of this guy. It's like, nope. But, we got him as whatever Herman the Hermit or whatever the hell he was. It's like, a completely different character using the same thing with a palette swap. It's like, damn. Or as your buddy, back in the past, the cave troll creature, giant, whatever, that thing. But
yeah, because that ain't Cambro. I don't care what Deucin says.
Exactly. But all right, J.D. Gibson had one quick question for you, Tyler. Said, is there a chance to get the mini comic tonight in a giveaway form?
Let's see. How many people we have in the chat room right now?
Well, it says 10 are watching. There's still a good amount of people doing discussion back and forth. So There's still a good amount of people there.
Hmm.
JSP
Maybe,
real quick said, "How about?" I just want to say JSP was like, "How about Queen Elmora to be a reoccurring character as well?"
yeah, I like to have seen Queen Elmore as a
Yeah.
recurring character. Having her come and visit Eternia and delivering photanium and stuff like that. Hell yeah, she'd been a great character to bring back.
Yes.
Um, I guess maybe since I've been trying to get this going for the last couple of weeks and we just haven't quite got it going, so I need to do a giveaway tonight. I guess I should do like some sort of sense of trivia, like some sort of He-Man trivia here. Um, Let me
Is it
think,
something
Joe.
you want to answer here or later, like just to make sure? Because I'll have to watch the chat room if you're going to say they can answer it here. I want to make sure.
How much time we got here? Because I don't want Nathan's waiting for us to wrap things up here.
Well, how about
Um,
this? You can always tell them to go to the Fans of Power Facebook page to give their answer. So the first person that can reply there on the Fans of Power Facebook page and post an answer somewhere, maybe that's the
okay, all
case.
right. That's what we'll do to get this going here. Let me come up with a quick question here. That's a bit of a brain buster here. That's not something that you can do a quick, Google search. You'd actually have to go and do a little um, research. Or okay, all right. This is a random one. It may be kind of easy, but everything to me, a lot of the stuff's easy. What is the name of the region that He-Man locates Granomir when they're when the human knowledge books? That's what the sorceress meant. When they're doing their research, where they discover that where they're going to find Granomir is located at. What is just two words? The name of the region that Granomir is located in, based on the book that He-Man's doing his research in. It's not Dark Smoke, but the name of the region that they know they'll find Granomir. That's that front. You know what? I'm not even gonna tell you the name of the episode because if you have to, if I have to tell you that,
Not many
then
Granomir episodes, or yeah.
yeah. So if you can tell me that the name of the region where they will find Granomir,
All right, we'll see that.
and
And
if you do
remember,
that, I will send you a free copy of the Leech mini comic that I have right here. If you go to the Fans of Power Facebook page and post the region or location that they plan to find Granomir in, the first person to do that, the first one to do that, will get a free mini comic, and then I'll contact you and get your info from you and get it shipped out to you.
all right. Now you guys know what to do, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on the Fans of Power Facebook page. Okay, I think there's two more questions before we probably wrap it up right here. Uh, Zentron. Zentron said, okay, if you had the chance to rewrite the episode The Island, how would you change it and why? I would make sure it was just never written. I wouldn't even want there was just nothing great or memorable from that damn episode at all. And it was just very flat, horrible, and something that I just don't like to remember. I
Yeah,
wouldn't even want it myself now. Like I said,
I'd have killed the idea of having a clan of Clawful's people. Like they serve no
yeah.
purpose. I don't need to see that. Again, showing Clawful depicted as a moron.
Oh,
Um,
it's terrible.
you
He
know,
couldn't
I
even understand his own language, but Leva Lynn could. Oh, come on. It was,
it's just
God, it was
it's just a poor episode. Like I'm sure if I ever were to go back and revisit it, you could come up with something that's a little bit more reputable, um, and something that would make it watchable, and like get rid of that goofy ass image of Telia as a young girl with like the neck of a giraffe. Where she's like all goofy looking as a kid. Like that's just one of the silliest images I always remember from that episode. But all the worst ideas that have been done about He-Man, I feel like if I was told, I'd have to go back and find something and retool or use the same idea and characters, but come up with something that makes it a much more reputable story. I know I could do it.
okay. All right. Well, thank you for that one. And the final one is, let's see. Okay, that's from Delva78. It says, what do you think is the most underrated weapon the vintage figures came with? Well, I mean, I don't know if you mean underrated, like, it should have been appreciated more, or if you're saying like underrated where you thought, oh, he came with it, but it didn't do much. But I guess I'll go in a couple different directions. Like, all right, I look at somebody like Rotar and Twistoid, which we mentioned earlier, and they come like, with this crazy one big spiked up red weapon, and another looks like a scythe. An underrated meaning, if I would hate to be in the way of a spinning buzzsaw of a type character of Twistoid with this scythe, an orange scythe, and when he's spinning, and that thing's spinning too, just the thought of the damage it would conflict upon somebody, it would shred you and decapitate you and just turn you to pieces like that. So if we're going by that aspect, and it's one of the most, well, he's one of the most underrated characters too, I'm going to go with Twistoid's damn weird orange scythe weapon, because that is a damn deadly thing in the hand of that spinning sumbitch.
Clamp Champ's Clamp.
Okay.
That's my choice.
All right. Okay. Well, now let me see. I'm going down. I want to. I'm afraid. Okay. Zentron has a movie quote before I wrap this up. He says, "I'm afraid you'll have some trouble believing us. I'm afraid you'll have some trouble believing us." I'm thinking he's doing another Friday the 13th, and it's going to be some crazy oddball quote that somebody said that I'm afraid you'll have some trouble believing us. I don't know the movie. I know it's one of the Friday 13th, but I don't know which character. What about you, Tyler? Because
I have no clue, because it's one of the probably part 6 or 5, and I'm like, I don't care because it's part 5 or 6.
I hate that I don't know. I'm afraid you'll have some trouble. And that might be Jason Goes to Hell. Wait a second.
Even more so.
Wait, let me see. Damn it. Well, he says it's Friday 13th, part 8. Part 8? Who the hell? Wait. Now I'm trying to see if I can remember who the hell said that.
Well, if that's the case, maybe that's when they're running around in New York.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna have to. You got me again, Zentron. I'll admit it. Damn it. He said he was gonna do it. He said, "Joe, I'm gonna try to find some of the craziest quotes that just might go boom over your head." Well, you've been winning. You've been getting some weird ones, and I don't know that one. So he's like, what? I'll have to wait. I'll have to see what he has to do. Well, let me just say what I always say, and I'm sure it'll pop up here in a second. I just want to thank every one of you guys in the chat room for joining us. Absolutely love having you here every single week. It seems like it just gets funner and funner every time, each time we do it. So that's why I appreciate it. It does. I mean, I love you sticking around. I love all the interaction and the comments and everything you do. And of course, he says, Zentron says, he says it to the Irish cop. Really? God. It had to be when the cop was getting closely into the car and got pulled out. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Okay, well, he did it to the Irish cop. Now I got to go back and watch that. So thanks, Zentron. But yeah, again, thank you all for joining us. Love having you. And let me also say, I forgot. Yeah. If you want, please like this video, subscribe, share, ring that bell so you can always get notified to when we go live. See, I almost forgot that part, but I didn't. See, Nathan, I used to get on Nathan about that, and now
I was saying we'd have to have Nathan chime in to do the traditional wrap up.
Because now Nathan's gonna say, "Oh, you're starting to do it too, Joe. Now you're starting to do it." But so yeah, do all those things, and until next time, have a powerful day,
sir. Do we get to win this time? This time it's up to you.
I know. Really, I do know. Hold on. I'm covering my eyes. I don't think I'm cheating. Wait. Oh, what the fuck? Damn it. Okay. I'm going to tap out just because I don't want to take too long and see if somebody gets it in the chat room. I know this. I really do. I swear to God, I know this one.
Does Nathan know it?
Oh, come on, Joe.
He knows it.
Oh, wait a second. It's for Rambo.
Oh, finally.
Which one? Damn it.
Did he say that on part 2?
Oh, my God.
I like how he whispers how he's just so unsure of himself.
All right, I've had enough of this. Rainbow First Blood Part 2.
We did say part 2. Okay, all right. Damn it. There. Well, I knew it.
That's klutz.
Well, I said it. I did get it, and I said 2. I don't know. Damn it, I got it. All right, see you guys next time.